Chosen one, the enemy thought this season would break you completely. He calculated every attack, every delay, every moment of exhaustion to push you beyond your breaking point. But what he didn't know is that heaven was using his very strategy to prepare you for something he could never see coming. Don't look away from this message. You didn't find this video by accident. You were led here by divine assignment. Why has this particular trial stretched longer than any other battle you've faced? And what is God positioning you to receive that required this exact level of preparation? If you dismiss what's coming next, you'll miss the prophetic shift that's already in motion and the breakthrough that's been waiting for your moment of recognition. This isn't just another encouraging word. This is heaven interrupting your timeline with a declaration that changes everything. You are not here by accident. What's ahead in this message will reveal exactly why the battle had to last this long. But first, here's what you need to understand. Every day you felt like giving up was actually a day God was building something in you that cannot be shaken. The length of this fight wasn't punishment. It was preparation for a victory so complete that it will redefine your entire future. This moment is charged with divine purpose, and the shift isn't coming. It's here. Hit the like button if you're ready to receive what heaven is speaking. Your action amplifies this word and helps it reach more of God's chosen across the world. Comment 777 if you're declaring today as the day you step into divine abundance, favor, and breakthrough. Share one thing you need prayer for today in the comments. Then be a blessing to someone else by responding to their request with faith and love. As you share your prayer, know that hands and hearts across this community are lifting it up. And when you pray for another, blessings will return to you. This is how faith in action works. And to our cherished members, your support is a seed of love. May the Lord water it with peace, purpose, and powerful answers to prayer. It's a truly profound thought, isn't it, my dear friend? To consider with the gentle reverence it deserves that the very fabric of your journey, that intricate, sometimes bewildering tapestry, woven with so many threads of struggle, of profound heartache, and of intense, soul-stretching challenge, hasn't been a random, haphazard collection of misfortunes. No, not at all, and certainly not merely the cruel hand of chance. It's far more intricate, more beautifully deliberate, and undeniably intentional than that. The truth, whispered softly yet powerfully by the Holy Spirit, reverberating in the quiet chambers of your own heart, is that the adversary, the one who relentlessly rises up against every good and beautiful thing God has lovingly, meticulously planned for your life, actually recognized something incredibly significant, something profoundly dangerous to his dark agenda about you. He perceived the immense magnitude, the sacred weight of what you carry within your spirit. It's a sacred trust, a divine potential, a destiny so magnificent that heaven itself has been carefully, tenderly nurturing it, shielding it, and watching over it with unwavering attention. It's been like a precious seed planted in the rich, fertile soil of God's boundless grace, hidden deep within, kept secret from the harsh winds of cynicism and the scorching sun of doubt, waiting with divine patience for just the right season to burst forth. Not just into a simple bloom, but into a glorious, breathtaking display of life. This isn't about fostering ego or igniting pride, not even for a fleeting moment. It's about a deeply humbling and profoundly liberating recognition of the absolute truth of who you are, precisely as God sees you, not as your failures or your past, but as a child of destiny, irrevocably marked by a purpose that echoes with eternity. Perhaps there were countless days, stretching into weeks that blurred into months, and even years that felt like an eternity, when you gazed upon the often barren landscape of your own life and found yourself questioning with a raw, agonizing ache in your heart if any of those beautiful, expansive promises you felt stirring within you were genuinely real. You might have wondered if it was all merely wishful thinking, a desperate, fragile hope clinging to a fading dream, like trying to grasp a wisp of smoke that vanishes as quickly as it appears. or attempting to hold onto flowing water in cupped hands that simply won't retain it. Oh, my friend, I've walked through those very valleys. We all have at one time or another. We've known intimately what it feels like when our faith feels less like a sturdy, deep-rooted oak, standing firm against any storm, and more like a tender, vulnerable sapling, easily swayed and seemingly shattered by the relentless, brutal winds and the harsh, unforgiving realities that buffet us from every side, threatening to uproot us entirely. But I want you to truly hear this truth, to invite it in with every fiber of your being and allow it to settle like rich, life-giving soil deep into the very core of your spirit, anchoring you. God never ever wastes a struggle, not one single tear that has traced a path down your cheek, leaving its salty testament to pain and sorrow. Not one sleepless night spent wrestling with burdens too heavy for your shoulders, where the quiet hours amplified every fear and uncertainty. Not one moment of confusion that clouded your mind, or doubt that gnawed at your resolve, or searing pain that pierced your soul. Every single experience, every fractured piece of your heart, every broken expectation that crumbled around you holds a divine purpose within His overarching, magnificent plan, a plan woven with threads of redemption and grace. Think of it, if you will, like a master artisan, with hands both powerful and tender, carefully crafting a piece of exquisite pottery. The raw clay, often rough, formless, and seemingly insignificant, must go through an intense purifying fire. This isn't to destroy it, to obliterate its very essence, but rather to harden it, to refine its very being, to imbue it with an unshakable strength and a profound resilience, making it ready, perfectly suited to hold something incredibly precious and eternally significant. That intense pressure you've felt, that crushing, overwhelming weight that has sometimes made it difficult to even draw a full, steady breath, wasn't a sign that God had forgotten you, or worse, abandoned you to the whims of a cruel fate. Quite the opposite, in fact, if you can open your heart to this liberating truth. It was a profound indicator, a divine signal, a resounding testament to the immense trust heaven has placed in you. It's a quiet, yet powerful whisper from the Creator's heart, affirming that you are being entrusted to steward something truly great, something of immeasurable and eternal value. It's akin to a loving parent, discerning with deep insight their child's unique, untapped capabilities, choosing deliberately to entrust them with a significant, perhaps even daunting, responsibility. They wouldn't do so unless they held an unwavering, unshakable belief in their child's capacity, even if the child, in their inexperience and current understanding, doesn't yet fully see it themselves. God, in His infinite wisdom and love, sees beyond your present struggle, beyond the present pain, to the glory, the purpose, and the magnificent impact that patiently, surely awaits you. He is already there, preparing the way. Let us turn our hearts for a moment to the ancient yet ever-relevant story of Joseph in the Bible. Imagine his journey from the vibrant hues of a favored coat, a symbol of love and promise, to the dark, chilling depths of a pit where dreams seemed to die. From there, he was sold into the humiliating chains of slavery, then falsely accused of a heinous crime, and subsequently languishing for years in a literal, unforgiving prison. He was forgotten by those he had selflessly helped, cast aside as if his existence held no value, his beautiful dreams seemingly shattered beyond any hope of repair. From a purely human perspective, observing the relentless sequence of misfortunes, it appeared to be an agonizing, inexplicable delay, a catastrophic derailment of every promise he held dear, every prophetic whisper about his future. Yet those long, arduous, seemingly wasted years were not a delay at all in the grand scheme of things. They were, in the intricately woven tapestry of God's sovereign, perfect plan, a divine cocoon, a hidden season, a time of profound transformation, where God, with meticulous care, infinite wisdom, and unwavering love, was preparing him. Joseph wasn't merely surviving in chains, counting the days in bleak despair. He was actively learning profound, indispensable lessons about leadership in adversity, about shrewd administration even in bondage, about unshakable resilience in the face of injustice, and perhaps most powerfully, about radical, heart-liberating forgiveness that transcended every wound. All of this unfolded while he was confined, seemingly powerless, stripped of every earthly comfort and right. He was being shaped, molded, and seasoned for a level of influence and authority that once he finally stepped into it, would be so deeply rooted in divine character, so firmly anchored in God's truth, that it could not be tampered with, corrupted, or easily undone by any earthly force or political maneuver. In this very same way, your own hidden season, the times you felt utterly overlooked, forgotten in the shadows, or confined by circumstances seemingly beyond your control, with no apparent way out, has served a far greater, more magnificent purpose than the immediate sting of pain or the crushing weight of loneliness could ever suggest. It's been a sacred crucible, a furnace of refining, a time of deep internal work, chiseling away what is not essential, what does not serve your higher calling, sculpting you, lovingly, precisely, into the magnificent, spirit-filled person you need to be for the extraordinary what's next that God has already orchestrated for your life. How many times have you found yourself, perhaps in the quiet, vulnerable hours of the night, with tears streaming down your face, pouring out the raw, unvarnished anguish of your heart to God, desperately asking, why? Why was relief seemingly withheld when you needed it most, when your soul felt parched and weary, dry like desert sand? Why did the clear, comforting answers not come when you prayed with such earnest, gut-wrenching sincerity, when your very spirit cried out for understanding? It's profoundly easy, isn't it, to interpret that quietness, that perceived lack of immediate intervention, as indifference, to feel, in those desolate moments, as though heaven itself had fallen silent, grown deaf to your cries, turning away from your pain. But let me assure you, with every fiber of my being, with a certainty born of spiritual truth, heaven was anything but silent. In those very moments, God was intensely, profoundly active, though perhaps not in the way your human mind expected, or your weary, pain-filled eyes recognized. He wasn't just observing from a distant, untouchable throne. He was intimately engaged, working within you, forging you, shaping you, making you strong in ways you could not yet comprehend. Imagine a skilled blacksmith with powerful, knowing hands, shaping raw, unyielding metal. He pounds it with precision, applying intense heat and deliberate, calculated blows to refine it, to temper it, to make it suitable for its ultimate, glorious purpose. That, my dear friend, is precisely what God was doing in your spirit. He was pouring the oil of resilience into hidden places within you, anointing you with strength, building up reservoirs of fortitude that you didn't even know existed until they were powerfully called upon. Think of it like a seasoned athlete in rigorous training, strengthening muscles you didn't even know you possessed, building an inner fortitude, a spiritual stamina that will prove absolutely essential, an indispensable asset for every single step of your magnificent future. This hidden work has prepared you for the race ahead, ensuring you are not only ready, but also empowered to endure. That kind of deep endurance, that true, unshakable staying power that withstands the fiercest storms, isn't forged when everything is easy and comfortable, when you're standing triumphantly on the mountaintop, basking in the glorious glow of celebrated victories and widespread applause. No, indeed. It's formed in the quiet, often lonely hours of the night, deep within the dark, shadow-filled valleys, in those stretched-out, agonizing moments when quitting felt so much easier, so much more alluring and appealing than simply holding on for just one more day, one more breath, one more flicker of hope. It's built when your faith felt less like a roaring shout of confident declaration and more like a barely audible whisper, a tiny, fragile, flickering flame of hope in the overwhelming, encroaching darkness, threatening to extinguish altogether. That, in the raw honesty of those profound trials, is where the real grit, the authentic spiritual resolve, the deep-seated spiritual character is formed and indelibly refined. And this incredibly difficult, often intensely painful process has done something vitally important for you, something you might not even fully recognize yet. It has preserved you. It has been a divine shield, a loving, protective barrier, guarding you from jumping headfirst into counterfeit solutions that might have offered temporary, fleeting relief, but would have ultimately led to desolate dead ends, to a profound sense of spiritual emptiness, and eventually deep regret. It has lovingly saved you from rushing through premature doors, opportunities that looked incredibly promising and outwardly good on the surface, but were not truly aligned with your divine path, which could have led you down a lesser destiny, a diluted, compromised version of the grand, glorious plan God has always held for you. He knows the difference between what looks good and what is truly good for you. Every setback you experienced, every moment that struck you like a devastating blow, causing your world to momentarily reel, was, in God's immense and perfect bigger picture, a strategic setup. It was positioning you precisely and perfectly, preparing you for something immeasurably better, something far grander and more deeply satisfying than your current comprehension can fully grasp. Every closed door, especially the ones that stung with the pain of rejection and left you feeling discarded, misunderstood, or utterly forgotten, was actually a holy diversion, a loving redirection from a path that was not truly meant for you, a detour from a destiny that would not have satisfied your deepest, most sacred longings. Remember the ancient story of Esther. She was plucked from her ordinary, everyday life, from a place of humble familiarity, and found herself hidden away in a foreign palace, a place of unimaginable luxury, yes, but also profound uncertainty and hidden dangers, a place where she was seemingly a pawn in a much larger, darker game, all before her pivotal, divinely appointed moment of unveiling. Her time there, seemingly passive, filled with beauty treatments and the strictures of palace etiquette, was absolutely vital. She was being strategically positioned, divinely educated, and meticulously prepared, not just for a king, but for an assignment that would quite literally save her entire people from annihilation. In this very same way, you too have been in a sacred season of divine positioning, being readied and refined for a pivotal assignment that eagerly awaits your embrace. This assignment, my friend, requires a unique and profound capacity for compassion, a deep empathy born from intimately understanding your own suffering. It demands a genuine authority, not a worldly power that manips and controls, but a spiritual weight, a quiet strength forged in the unyielding fires of trials. And it needs a deep, abiding humility, an unshakable understanding that your true enduring strength comes not from your own efforts, your own cleverness, or your own capabilities, but purely and unequivocally from God Himself. These are the precious, indispensable qualities that only long battles, only sustained seasons of testing and profound surrender can truly birth, deepen, and solidify within the human spirit. Sometimes, the most profound and life-altering breakthroughs aren't discovered by frantically searching for answers, by relentlessly trying to figure everything out on your own, striving tirelessly in your own limited strength and human understanding. Instead, they often come when you simply stop striving, when you release the overwhelming need to logically solve every intricate puzzle of your life, and instead, you simply learn to sit in quiet, prayerful contemplation, allowing the gentle light of revelation to illuminate your path. It's a beautiful, transformative shift from frantic, often exhausting doing to a posture of quiet, open-hearted receiving, allowing God's Spirit to speak directly, intimately, soul to your spirit in a way that transcends mere information or intellectual understanding. It's a deep knowing that settles, not just in your mind, but profoundly in your bones, a truth that resonates with every cell of your being. If what I'm sharing right now resonates deeply within you, if it feels like a soft yet incredibly powerful light is beginning to illuminate the hidden, dusty corners of your understanding, bringing clarity and peace, then the 10 hidden truths of Jesus' parables is truly your next step, a divine invitation to go deeper, to explore these profound truths further. It's a short yet profoundly powerful ebook that opens up practical, spirit-led truths that can radically transform your understanding of things like money, not just accumulation, but the sacred principles of stewardship and the abundant flow of divine provision, of healing, both physical and emotional, and even how to gain profound emotional clarity and an unshakable peace in your daily life, regardless of external circumstances. You can find the link in the first comment below this video, but please know, with a sense of urgency, that it's only available for a limited time. So if you feel that gentle nudge, that strong, undeniable leading in your spirit, do not hesitate. Grab it now and let it guide you. Now, as these words flow between us, connecting our spirits, I truly sense, with an almost tangible awareness, that the very atmosphere around you is beginning to shift. There's a palpable change in the spiritual air, a lightness, a new breath of hope and possibility entering your space. This isn't just wishful thinking or a fleeting emotional sentiment. It's a profound spiritual reality because you've proven something incredibly important, something eternally significant, not to me or to any human, but to heaven itself. You have endured the unendurable. You have persisted through the seemingly impossible, and through it all, your character has been refined, purified like precious gold in the intense heat of the furnace, emerging stronger and brighter. Because of that unwavering steadfastness, because of that divine tempering process, this is your moment. It's time, my friend, to step into it fully, courageously, and intentionally, without withdrawing, without shrinking back into the familiar yet deceptive shadows, where you might have felt a temporary sense of safety during your hidden season. The enemy, your relentless adversary, he actually feared your persistence more than anything else you could have presented. He didn't doubt your human weakness. In fact, he probably tried with all his might to exploit it, to magnify it in your eyes, to whisper doubts about your capabilities. What he truly, desperately feared was what you would ultimately become if you ever fully realized the immense, God-given strength that had been placed within you all along, the very strength he's been diligently cultivating, nurturing, and bringing to full fruition through every trial and every hard-won triumph. This is a critical, life-altering point, my friend. Refuse, with every fiber of your being, to call this past season a loss. Do not under any circumstance allow your mind or your emotions to label it as wasted time, a catastrophic failure, or a period of regret that you wish you could erase. Instead, begin right now, in this very moment, to boldly name it what God Himself names it. He calls it preparation for prominence, not for worldly acclaim or fleeting fame, but for a divine purpose that will bring Him glory and bless countless lives in ways you cannot yet fathom. He calls it a time of being readied for profound influence and sacred visibility, a platform for His light to shine through you. He calls it preparation for blessing, for an overwhelming outpouring of good things that will become undeniably evident. A clear, tangible testament to His faithfulness, His goodness, and His provision in every single area of your life. And He calls it preparation for restoration, for everything that felt broken, lost, stolen, or shattered to be made whole again, completely renewed, not just repaired, but made even better than before. It's a powerful, transformative shift in language, a radical change in perspective, and it changes absolutely everything about how you perceive your past, how you experience your present, and how you embrace your magnificent future. Release that old, heavy language of complaint, of disappointment, of self-pity that has weighed you down for too long. Stop rehearsing over and over all the ways things went wrong, all the hurts that lingered, and the agonizing setbacks that defined certain seasons. Instead, begin to declare divine design. Speak words that affirm with unwavering confidence that God has been orchestrating every single detail, even the most painful and bewildering ones, for a purpose far grander, far more glorious, and far more redemptive than you could ever imagine. Instead of striving relentlessly with weary shoulders and an exhausted spirit to fix every single thing that feels unfinished, broken, or out of place in your life, trying to piece together fragmented dreams, take a deep, soul-cleansing breath. Then, consciously learn to sit with God in quiet surrender. Allow Him, in His infinite wisdom and boundless, perfect love, to gently show you the intricate, beautiful strands of purpose He's been weaving behind every single scene of your life, even when you couldn't possibly see it, even when it made absolutely no sense to your limited human understanding. It's so much like gazing at the back of a magnificent, richly embroidered tapestry. All you discern are messy knots, tangled threads, and seemingly chaotic, disjointed patterns that make no sense. But when you reverently turn it over, the breathtaking masterpiece, the intended design, the glorious picture, is finally revealed in all its stunning glory. God is tenderly asking you to trust Him implicitly with the front of your tapestry, with the unfolding beauty of your life story, knowing that He is the master weaver. Be willing to lay down every idol, every subtle attachment that you might have unknowingly picked up and clutched tightly during this challenging season, believing it was for your safety or comfort. Idols of timing, for instance, believing that things must unfold by a certain date, according to your human calendar and your expectations. Idols of control, feeling an overwhelming compulsion that you have to manage and orchestrate every single outcome, every minute detail, every step of your journey. And insidious idols of self-protection, building impenetrable walls around your precious, vulnerable heart, attempting to shield yourself from any further pain at the cost of intimacy and connection. These very idols, though seemingly offering comfort or a sense of safety, actually block the flow of the very blessings you're longing for, creating invisible barriers between you and God's abundant provision and perfect timing. Trust, genuine childlike trust in God, is the only currency that truly moves heaven. It is the sacred access code to divine intervention, to profound miracles, and to the supernatural manifestation of His power in your life. Just like Daniel in the lion's den, surrounded by roaring threats and imminent danger, yet untouched, completely preserved and divinely protected, you are being kept, you are being held safe, for a powerful demonstration of God's power and faithfulness that's so much bigger than just you, a living testament for the world to witness. As you step bravely, purposefully into this magnificent new chapter, forgiveness must follow. And this is absolutely vital, perhaps the most crucial step, a foundational act of self-love and spiritual liberation. First, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for any perceived failures, for any mistakes you believe you made, for any delays you might mistakenly think were solely your fault, or for any perceived weakness you carried. We as humans can be our own harshest, most relentless critics, our own internal accusers, but God's grace is always, always sufficient, covering every imperfection, every misstep, every moment of perceived inadequacy. Then, with an open, yielding heart, extend that same liberating forgiveness to those whose presence or even their painful absence shaped your journey and contributed to your pain. Whether they intentionally hurt you with their words or actions, or simply failed to be there for you in your moments of deepest need, in the ways you desperately hoped, release them. Letting go of resentment and bitterness is not about excusing their actions, nor is it about validating their wrongs or pretending they didn't wound you. It is profoundly, entirely about freeing your own spirit, severing the heavy, invisible chains that bind you to the past, to the hurt, and to the people who caused it. There is simply no room, no space whatsoever for the corrosive, soul-destroying weight of bitterness in the expansive, breathtakingly beautiful new chapter God is meticulously writing for your life. Bitterness is a heavy, cumbersome anchor that will, without fail, keep you from moving forward, from sailing into the boundless grace, the liberating freedom, and the overflowing joy that lovingly await you. Walk forward now, my dear friend, with open hands. Not with clenched fists tightly grasping onto what was or what you think should be, but with a posture of humble reception. Walk with a heart ready to receive, with childlike wonder and eager anticipation, whatever magnificent, awe-inspiring thing God has prepared for you. Think of the faithful Ruth, gleaning meager grain in a foreign field, a humble, repetitive task, simply doing what she could with profound diligence and humble obedience day after day. She had no earthly idea, no conscious awareness that her small, faithful steps were actually positioning her to step into a generational blessing, eventually becoming a pivotal, revered part of the very lineage of Jesus Christ himself, the Savior of the world. She just kept showing up day after day, kept taking those faithful, seemingly insignificant small steps. In the very same way, keep taking your faithful steps. Be incredibly discerning of distractions, for the enemy is cunning and relentless in his tactics. He loves to offer shiny, immediate gratifications, little diversions that look appealing, even necessary on the surface, but ultimately cause you to settle for what's temporary and fleeting, at the immense cost of what's eternal, truly significant, and divinely aligned for you. Stay intensely focused on the bigger picture, the grand design that only God can fully see in all its intricate beauty. And above all else, water your atmosphere with praise. Do this even before the outcomes shift, even before you see the tangible, undeniable results you're desperately hoping for, even before the breakthrough physically manifests. There is an incredible disruptive power in worship and praise that literally confuses the adversary, throwing his plans into utter disarray and disarming his strategies. When he expects you to be in despair, broken and defeated, and you are instead praising God with a heart full of gratitude and unwavering faith, it utterly throws him off balance, disarming his every tactic and rendering him powerless. More importantly, praise anchors your soul, securing it amidst the tumultuous storms of life. It reminds you powerfully of God's unchanging nature, his unfailing goodness, and his supreme sovereignty, regardless of your current circumstances or the discouraging reports you hear around you. It fills you with a peace that truly surpasses all human understanding. As Philippians 4:7 so beautifully says, guarding your precious heart and mind in Christ Jesus, becoming a sanctuary within your soul. This, my cherished friend, is the appointed time. This is the Kairos moment, God's perfect strategic timing, overriding all human calendars and expectations. Heaven is not patiently waiting for you to suddenly have more faith than you possess right now, or a greater measure of certainty, or a perfectly spotless track record. God doesn't require your perfection. He simply requires your availability and your willingness to surrender, to trust him with all that you are and all that you hope to be. The shift, the real turning point, begins the very moment you consciously align your thoughts and your declarations, your spoken words, with what God says about you and about your current situation, rather than what your fluctuating feelings or your challenging circumstances are reporting back to you. Your feelings are indeed important. They give us valuable insights and signal our internal state, but they can be incredibly deceptive and changeable, shifting like the sands of the desert. God's word, however, is steadfast, immutable, and eternally true, a rock that never moves. Refuse, absolutely refuse, to minimize your hope. Do not dim your unique light or shrink your divinely appointed expectations to fit into what seems realistic or possible according to human standards. Declare today, right now, in this very instant, as a definitive turning point in your life. Make that conscious, intentional decision and resolutely refuse to look backward at what was, at the past hurts, the perceived failures, or the disappointments that once defined you. Before you even lay your head down to sleep tonight, I want you to intentionally, deliberately let everything within you release the fear that has stalked your promise, that has relentlessly pursued and kept you from moving forward, from embracing your true destiny. Let go of the insidious doubt that has mocked your faith, whispering cunning lies into your ear, trying to steal your confidence, your joy, and your peace. Pray this aloud with as much expectation and heartfelt sincerity as you can possibly muster, allowing the words to resonate deeply within your spirit, speaking life and truth over your situation. God, I release all fear. I release all doubt. I step boldly and courageously into my divine purpose, and I trust wholeheartedly that my miracle is already on its way, already unfolding. If this message, if these powerful spirit-led words found a tender, receptive place in your heart today, please share it with someone you know who desperately needs to hear it, someone who is wrestling in their own hidden season. Claim it for yourself as your new, undeniable reality, a foundational truth for your life, and allow it to become the unshakable truth you walk in from this moment forward. Your breakthrough, my friend, has already begun. It's not something you're merely waiting for. It's already in motion, powerfully, divinely, relentlessly unfolding right now.